Hello everybody, Defcamp here, that's me. Welcome to DefTalk episode number 2, the talk show that focuses on everything WoW, whether it's classic, retail, or the players that play it. We have Melderon here.
Hey everybody.
And today we are going to be interviewing Melderon. And we're going to be, so this is the second episode of DefTalk. The first one was basically just me talking about how I got introduced to WoW and, you know, when I started playing and all that. And I wanted to do one for Melderon because there's a lot of unanswered questions I think people have and how the channel started, that kind of thing. So, first off, guys, we got some lovely cigars here.
Yes.
They are my father's
Flor de las
cigar.
Antillas.
Yeah, my father's cigar, Flor de las Antillas. Antillas!
Yes.
And they're a great cigar. If you guys want to sit down and have a cigar with us, highly recommend that one. So let's start off with the first question I think everyone wants to know is, what made you want to start making WoW content?
Okay, so let's reverse back to April of 2016. That I think it was the April 11th or April 10th, if that date rings a bell to you guys.
So that's 2 years ago, a couple days ago, actually.
Yeah, so we actually just passed our 2-year anniversary a little while ago.
A lot of people think that this channel's new.
Yeah. Our success has definitely been a slow burn, like a cigar.
Yeah.
But so I started the channel because of what happened on April 10th or April 11th, 2016. If you guys remember, that date should ring a bell. That's when NOS was shut down. And I wanted to do something because I was playing on NOS. I was having a great time. I was reliving my fantasies and reliving the years of playing Warcraft. And I thought to myself, well, you know, I'm going to play on this server. I played, had a good time. It was shut down. And I was so disheartened and a little bit angry that I wanted to start a channel to do my part.
You wanted to get the message out.
Yeah, that I want to get the message out that Warcraft that classic Warcraft is awesome and that it should come back, you know. And that was NOS's mission was to get Blizzard's attention, and which they did. But I think we needed to do more. So
you were pretty angry at Blizzard at the time.
Yeah. So just to go back real quick, I started the channel a week after NOS was shut down. So I think it was April 16th or April 18th, something like that. So go ahead. What was the next question?
Exactly 2 years.
Yeah.
From, well, not from today, but
yeah, very close.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people, you know, even other content creators, or I've heard some people, you know, Defcamp and Melderon, these guys are new. They started once the classic, which is true in a way. We did merge soon around that time. But guys, like my channel, I only uploaded like 2 videos on.
Yeah.
I mostly I played retail for a very long time. And as you guys, if you've seen the first episode of Defcamp, recently actually started playing on private servers. And you know, I played here and there with Melderon on some of his episodes, but I really, you know, ever since the classic announcement, I think a new life has been breathed into our channel.
It has. It definitely has.
Yeah.
And I started, I'm not sure what your next question was. You started.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You want to go to the next question?
No, I don't know what your next question is. Sorry.
So the next question, I wanted to, you know, when you started the vanilla content, what made you want to start the content and all that, yeah.
So riffing off of that for a second, started the channel because of those reasons, but what I started doing was actually making tutorials. That's what I love to do because I felt like, well, if I want to capture more people into this vanilla or classic world, how about we give them a crash course into how vanilla or classic was played? Because let's be honest, a lot of the people who I was playing with during Warlords of Draenor, which is when NOS was shut down, came into the game after vanilla. Okay, so I wanted to create a tutorial / crash course for people who have never played vanilla, and that's what I started doing.
It was a beginner's guide, and some of those episodes I was with you there, and a lot of the tutorial ones you did on your own. I thought they were greatly made for people who never played the game, and I think a lot of people who did play the game saw them and were kind of like, well, this is very dumbed down, but it was really for the people who were very new to vanilla.
Correct.
And
I wanted to get more people involved.
Yeah.
And that's how I thought the best way to do it was.
And that, I think, is one of the... We'll get to that later, but one of the core messages of our channel. We'll get to that towards the end, though.
Okay.
And what we want to do with the channel. And,
Yeah.
how we try to bridge that divide a little bit. But the next question we can move on to... So basically, after the NOS shutdown is when your channel started. It was a kind of way to get the message out there that this is what we want. We want classic WoW. We want to play it, and
to get people maybe involved, and that's not scary. You can get in, get into it from a person who's never played.
So this kind of goes into that as well. But what made you come back to WoW after all these years, and especially Vanilla WoW? What was it that brought you back to Vanilla WoW and made you stop playing retail servers?
So, the biggest thing for me was the social aspect was gone. Unless you're a high-end raider, which some people are.
The social aspect is completely different in that, though.
It is, that's true. Yeah. But even if that's a very small percentage of the population who's doing that. And when you played Vanilla BC and part of Wrath, you had to be social no matter what, even if you were questing, right? So there was a solo game back then, but the solo game was peppered with multiplayer aspects. You had to group up for certain quests. You had to group up for certain content, dungeons, all these things. You had to do it. And I missed that camaraderie I had with my fellow players. And to me, retail feels like a single player game in a multiplayer under a multiplayer umbrella, right? But you can play vast majorities of that game without ever getting into a party.
Right.
And then the second thing will be the role-playing aspect. I feel class identity has definitely decreased over the years. Yeah. And I want to play a game that's as close to a tabletop game as possible, right? I love RPGs, and Vanilla WoW, to me, is a tabletop game with a computer rolling the dice, basically. Yeah. And that's why I loved Classic so much, and that's what I wanted to get back to.
So when was it that you realized that retail... I know you started... Yeah. We can probably say this. You started playing probably around the same time I did, which was late vanilla. Yeah. Around patch 1.8, right?
1.8, 1.9, I can't remember.
Right around there. And when did you notice the game starting to change?
Well, in what way? So the game has always been
changing. The game starting to lose those things that you loved about it.
The RP, the role-playing. Yeah. I can kind of tell you exactly when it was for me, okay? So it was the introduction of LFG during the end of Wrath, after Ulduar, and the introduction of Trial of the Crusader.
Right before Kato,
yeah, those two things I think were huge, a huge shift. And I want to remark and say, hold on a second. I wasn't one of these guys that was like, oh, I can see what's happening. I can see the future. I have my crystal ball. No. Yeah, when LFG came out, I was like, we don't have to spam and trade anymore.
It's felt good at the time. It was like,
I'm not one of those guys that was like, blah, blah. It was bad from the start. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not Nostradamus. I don't have we all were part of the changes. The changes came slowly at
Not
first.
all of us. I'm sure there were people. I know a lot of people who hated flying maps when it came out.
Yes, that's correct. They hated cross realm RPG battlegrounds. Yeah.
And there were some changes. I think when they happened that we kind of shook our head and say, no, this isn't good. But a lot of those quality of life changes. As someone who we were playing the game for so long, we had put so much time into it. It kind of did feel good to realize that, okay, maybe now I don't have to put just as much time into this aspect of the game.
Yeah.
I don't have to, but then we didn't, like you said, we didn't know we were going to lose all of those things in the long run.
Exactly. But the icing of the cake for me was when the old world was destroyed during the Cataclysm. That was a huge, visceral change, right? You see that. Boom. Deathwing comes in and changes the whole map. That was a very in-your-face change that I personally wasn't a fan of.
New Orgrimmar. I hate New Orgrimmar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. If I go down and look at my phone, it's because I have my questions here, so I'm not texting while we're doing this interview. Okay. So, and then we can go now to private servers. What is it that... Because a lot of people will give you the argument that, like, I myself was one of them. I don't want to go play on private servers because I feel like it's wrong, it's immoral, and I actually... I think I kind of told myself that because I wanted to believe that the game was going to give me that feeling that I love so much eventually, but it never did. So I kind of used that as an excuse that, I don't want to go to, go against Blizzard, that kind of thing. How do you feel about that?
Well, for me, it was a very easy decision. So I'm the kind of guy where I look at everything from a perspective of a free market, right? Okay, so if something doesn't, if I don't like something, I'm going to seek it elsewhere. And that goes with anything, really. If I go to Wendy's one day and they're not making my favorite burger anymore, I'm not going to give them my business. And I made a video on this. I made a video about is it wrong to play on private servers, and I want you to check that out because there's a lot more of the legal.
Check out Melderon's vlogs too, guys. They are great, and I think he puts a different spin on things that sometimes that you don't think about. So that's a really good series that he has.
Basically, it's not illegal to play on private servers, okay? And we can argue all day if it's immoral or unethical. But to me, the minute that Blizzard changed the game in a way where I was no longer, for people like me, not just me, it's not all about me, where people like me were not a priority anymore, they weren't a priority to me. And my way of protesting that was to play on a private server, making a channel and signing petitions, all these things to say, I will give you my business Blizzard back if you provide to me the game that I want to play. So to me, it was a very easy decision. I knew that, people like Martin Luther King, people like Nelson Mandela didn't get shit done by sitting on their butts, right? And I'm not saying that people who continue to play retail were sitting on their butts.
Some people enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for a long time too, and and I think what goes for a lot of people who are on kind of in the middle on this argument, because I know there's a lot of people who are in the middle in this argument who don't want to play private. I mean, Asmongold is one of them. There's people who love vanilla but don't want to play private servers, right? And I think a lot of it is that, for me at least, for what I can speak, is that after all those years of playing Blizzard's Warcraft, it's almost like cheating on your girlfriend in a way.
Except it's a video game company.
I know, but that's how I felt. Yeah, I know. I felt like, in a way, I was cheating on my girlfriend. Like, I was, and that's,
I guess I could see that.
So, like, imagine this, okay? You get this girl, and when you first started dating her, she's smoking. She's hot, right? Yeah. And then over time, she puts on weight. She gets less attractive, and that is what retail basically turned into. And then you see, all of a sudden, this girl walks by the street, and you're like, damn, you smoking. And then you run over there, and now you make a decision to leave the girl. That's where I kind of look at it.
For me, it was a much less of emotional attachment. Okay. That was just me. I mean, like, yes.
With Blizzard.
With Blizzard, yes.
Because we grew
I wouldn't
up
do that
with
my girlfriend. I'm just saying
that we grew up with Blizzard games. We
did. Sure we did.
Not just with Warcraft, with StarCraft, with Diablo. And
with Warcraft 3
and when WoW came out. And then other thing I'd like to put, for me at least, it was like that addiction that you got. And you're always chasing that feeling, and I would log on, one day, and, it would be like, oh, I want to experience that I had so long ago. Maybe I can get it if I do something like this. If I join a Mythic raiding guild, then maybe I will be able to feel that passion I felt in the Burning Crusade when I was raiding, hardcore. Right. And that, for me, was a lot of why I stayed. And then I finally came to the fact that this isn't going to happen.
Yeah, I guess, yes. There is a point where I think everyone who's switched to private servers or stopped playing retail gets to a point where they have a realization that's not the game they want to play anymore. And for me, of course I came back. I didn't just leave after the Lich King, right? I came back for Kata for a while. I came back for Mob. I came back for Warlords. I came back for Legion. I am not planning to come back from BFA, but I came back for all those things for a month or two. And I did play it. I did give them money. It wasn't like I just shut it down, right? I gave them the benefit of the doubt and tried. I did do that. Okay. So, but for me, it was very easy for me to just be like, no, sorry, nothing's going to change unless I change, and that's kind of where I went. Because that's the same with anything in the world. Nothing's going to change unless you change first. If you're in a bad relationship or if you're in a bad whatever, you can't just expect things to get better. You have to make changes in on your end.
That's true.
And I think Blizzard realized that when many people made changes on their end, and either left the game for good or left the game for private service, because the private population increased dramatically when NOS came out, because they were a Blizz-like non-for-profit organization. So that was the big thing.
And something that I've recently said in some of my videos, and I realize, guys, these are just our opinions. Again,
of course,
yeah. We're not saying that just because these are our opinions that they're right in any way, but I do feel, and we were talking about this last night, that there has become such a divide between retail players and old school WoW players. New players and old players. I feel like, and a lot of it, I think, is that we just don't understand each other in a lot of ways. We were talking about how, for us, what we want in the game is a lot different than what the newer, not even the newer generations. It could be just people that are more accustomed to the newer games and the newer style of, jumping into a match, playing for a little bit, and then logging off. And it's not like you need to invest so much time.
Correct.
And they want, instant rewards, instant gratification. Everyone needs to be treated like you're the most badass character in the game. Yeah. And a lot of people who played vanilla and, the older versions of WoW are not that appreciative of that. They want to build their character up to feel powerful.
And even just level. There's people that just level to max level and then create a new character.
That's the thing in vanilla, leveling was such a big part of the and no other expansion or series of the game was leveling such a huge part of the game. True. I mean, people just leveled in vanilla, and that was their experience.
Yeah, some people did that. But going back to what you said about the two player bases not understanding each other, I think it eerily mimics and mirrors the political spectrum in the United States. So if you're from Europe, I know you guys know what's going on. You watch it on TV.
And they have conservatives and liberals.
Of course. But my girlfriends in Germany, they know everything that's happening in America on the political spectrum. We have a very, very divided political scheme in the United States. Unfortunately, we're not really hearing each other. Yeah. It's a lot of talking and no one's listening. That's exactly how I feel the retail versus classic communities are, and that's really not good because that means nothing gets done. So no progress can be made in the same way. Not a lot of progress is happening in the political spectrum of the United States. No progress can be made here. But let me reverse and say for a second here that I think Mark Curtin said it the best. These are two very different products and two very different markets.
Yes.
And I think they need to be. I think the retail people need to leave the classic people alone, and vice versa. I think we just need to leave each other alone. We have two very different things. And there are people in the middle,
though. That's the thing.
There are people in the middle, and that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
And what I've come to realize too is that neither of us are right or wrong, but we should respect each other too.
That's the big thing. Yeah.
So guys, like when I've made the recent video about graphics, I understand there are people who want to play vanilla, and that's the only thing they want to change is the graphics and like that. But I strongly believe that if you don't want to play the game as it was, and you're not looking to, recreate the experience as much as possible as it was, then you may not be as big as a fan of vanilla as you may think. I mean,
well, I think that's subjective.
It is objective, but
subjective.
Of course it's subjective. But the thing is, when I understand like the graphics. When it comes to the graphics, it's something that's very because a lot of games get remade. The graphics get remade.
Yeah,
and that's something that is sometimes expected when it comes to remaking a game. But this is not a remastered version, and the difference here is that the only legal way to play vanilla legal is if Blizzard does it the way
we can't pop in a disc. We can't pop in Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time into our old Super Nintendo or Nintendo 64. We can't do that. So this is kind of unprecedented. It happened in RuneScape, kind of, but so this is kind of like this is all we have, right? So, I think it's important to release the game the way it was. Let it play out. Right, and let's just see how it plays out. Let's just see how it goes, and I think that's the most important thing, is to give it a shot the way it's supposed to, for me, my opinion, the way it's supposed to be implemented. So that's how I feel about it.
And a lot of people argue with the whole toggle thing, it won't be affecting other people, and I've heard people like Asfan in the recent Classic Cast, we put forth that question to them.
Yeah.
We asked them, we recently made a video about the graphics. There was a lot of debate on it. How do you guys think? And pretty much all of them there were on the side that at least try it the way it was first. Mama always said, don't put salt on the chicken, try it first, you might like it.
Yeah. Plus, but it does affect the game in a very unique way, is that we have streamers now.
Yes.
So that, and we have so much internet stuff happening, like YouTube and Twitch.
And length of time that it might take longer for Classic to come out if we wait for them to do something like that.
Yeah, but what I mean is, you have two versions being streamed, right? That's very confusing to the buyer and to the viewer, I think. And Blizzard knows that. They don't want to confuse the buyer. That's a huge thing why I think there won't be a toggle, because there's a toggle in retail, but no one uses it. The thing is, people will use it.
You can't, as much as you can go back and look at the old character models, the old animations are gone.
Yes, correct.
So there's that.
So this would be
there's that
hard
issue
switch.
Too. What animations would we be using? The old ones or the new ones? Right. So it brings to rise more issues than people think. Esfan brought up a good point when it comes to ability icons, like something like imagine you see someone with Blessing of Freedom, and the icon for it in vanilla looked a lot different than it does now. It's a lot easier to spot. It's a lot easier to spell steal. Those kind of things. I think there are a lot more issues than people think of, and one main one is, is it going to make the release of the game take longer? If they do in time, bring out that there's a way that you can play with at least, like people were saying, with like just upgraded textures, things like that. And and you have the ability to switch on and off, maybe increase textures. I think as long as you tried it the old way first. If you tried it the old way and you still don't like it, then I'm not going to stop you from changing it after that. And I don't think anyone should. It's your personal preference. But I think at least everyone deserves the chance to play it as it was.
Right. Yeah.
Because that it was an amazing game, just as it was. But let's move on from that. We talked about that a lot recently, and then we can go into Well, it's already the next question.
Did I answer? I forget what the last question was.
So the last question was about, let's see, what was it? Okay, so what kept you coming back to WoW over the years? Yeah. What made you stop playing retail? And what is it that brought you to private servers and made you stay there?
All right, so I think we answered that.
But now, since we were talking about the graphics, things like that, and the question is, do you trust Blizzard? First off, with Classic, do you trust them with Classic? Uh-huh. And would you trust the Blizzard team to have the final say? Because we all know that it is now it's not just Blizzard, it's Activision Blizzard. Yeah. So do you think that even if the Blizzard Classic team has the best intentions, and you trust them, do you trust Activision Blizzard to say, okay, we're just going to release it as is, or say, well, no, we want it to be like this, or this?
All right, so that's a big question. So the first one is, I do not trust Blizzard I do not trust the retail team to do Classic justice. Okay, let me stop there for a second. They hired a different team. Okay, they hired a Classic only team. Do I trust them? If we know if we take into consideration what Tips was talking about who's involved and how many people are involved, if that's true, then I do have
it's a big if.
Yeah, we don't know.
Right.
Then yes, I do trust them to do our due justice, right? So the reason I don't trust Blizzard retail is because I've seen what they've done to the game, okay? Art-wise, play style-wise, lore-wise, I don't trust that group, okay? I would trust this Classic group if what we think we know may be true. However, Alex pointed out a very big thing about Blizzard Activision makes a load of money with microtransactions. Billions of dollars, okay? I don't trust that. I don't trust Activision. I trust that core team because I know what they want to do. They want to bring back Vanilla WoW because they love the game and we love the game. But I can see the meddling hands of Activision molding and moving and shuffling things around. That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
I'm really worried about that.
And that, when we were talking about last night, like, whoever this person is that was apparently the leak, who's in head of the team, is someone who volunteered. And, this is all ifs, big ifs, and speculation, but me and Phil, we like to, look at these things. This is basically our love. We love to talk about Classic. Yeah. We love to think about,
it's our hobby, basically.
And we love to watch videos, whether it's Alex Central, whether it's Esfan, no matter who the person is, we like to look at what they're presenting. And I think the fact is that with Blizzard Activision, there's no matter what the team's intentions are, they have the final say.
Yeah, they do.
And that scares me. Because say the game releases as they wanted and they're not happy with the numbers or they think they could get more numbers. They start doing little things. And what we always talk about is this slippery slope, right?
Yeah.
And how we always get some people who are like, dude, not everything's a slippery slope.
It's a fallacy, whatever.
But, we have seen the evidence with retail.
Yeah.
We have seen what happens when you try to tweak one thing. And then people complain that, oh, this class is now overpowered. And then everyone else gets tweaked. And the next thing you know, the classes are so homogenized, they all feel the same. And, we've seen what happens when Blizzard tries to make one change and try to leave it. And most of the time, 1,000 doors open when that one door is tries to
be shut. Yeah, that's it's been damage control since launch, day one, and they've said, you know what, screw it, let's just make everything the same, and that's basically what happened. And us, the classic people, I'm not speaking for everyone, but we don't want that. We want the hybrid inviolability. We want hybrid costs. We want, we want Red Paladins maybe not being the best raid.
But that's what made them fun.
Exactly.
That's what made.
But they're great in PvP.
Right.
And so we want all these situational things. We want the situational spells that you never use except for once in a while.
Yeah.
I love that stuff, So, going back to... Sorry, I'm just trying to remember where we were at. So, yes, I trust a portion of Blizzard. I don't trust a larger portion of Blizzard. I trust a small portion that's working on Classic. I do trust them. And I think they do have our best intentions in mind. I do. So,
with that said, what is your ideal version of Classic? Do you want a 1.12 1 start? Do you want a 1.1 start? Do you want itemization to be the same with 1.1 as it went on? Do you know how items changed over time? Esfan made a great video on that today about itemization, and we were talking about that earlier. Do you want to see the exact, changes that went on through the vanilla timeline, or do you want to see the 1.12? Do you want to see the private server, what they have done, or do you want to see something in between?
So I want to see the progression how it was for two reasons. One, because, there's actually probably more than two reasons. One, I'm going to say something very selfish. I didn't experience the beginning of vanilla. Okay?
Yep.
And I was a noob. Really bad noob for the rest of vanilla. So I want to experience everything the way that it came out, okay? That's number one. Number two, I've already seen 1.12.1. I've seen that already. I've done it. I want something a little bit fresh, okay? And fresh to me is the natural progression of how the game came out. Changes to classes, changes to quests, changes to items, changes to raid, drops, anything they change over that time. I want to experience that and flow through it. And you're going to say, but we have the patch lists, right? We know it's going to come out the next patch, so we'll wait a patch or something. That may be true to an extent, but remember, a lot of people either forget or they've only played on private servers and they don't know. And then we have all the new players.
And you never know how it's going to be implemented this time around. There could be things like, look at, say, Paladin's tier, something that I was thinking about today. So, that the tier 2 set, when it first came out, the set bonuses were very, I'm pretty sure
it was ret friendly.
They were ret friendly, then they were very holy friendly, then they became kind of like a mix at the end. So you could be like, oh well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the tier, but I'm not going to use it yet. I'm going to need on all the leather, all the cloth, because I'll get better bonus healing from that anyway. And then you have people planning ahead for all these things. But I think that in a way is more true to vanilla than anything, because you didn't know what was going to happen. Maybe you did know, or maybe you don't know. You could have read the patch notes or whatever, and saw what was going to happen next. But the fact is, I think with that, you'll have more cases of exploration. You have more people. It would keep more things open. You might go back and want to do BWL once Nax is out, because the set bonus now the set bonus is going to be great at this patch, and it's going to be and it's going to keep more things viable at different times. And also, the main thing for me is Blizzard needs to differentiate themselves between private servers.
That's a huge.
And,
that was my point 3.
Yeah.
That was my point 3.
Why would people pay, say, $15 a month to play something they could play for free?
That's true.
I know a lot of people will do it just because it will be from Blizzard and they would want to do it. But there's a lot of kids out there and there's a lot of people who maybe don't have the money and say, listen, if Classic is going to be exactly what Light's Hope is, what the hell's the point?
Why would I play? Yeah.
Right.
Blizzard has to differentiate. That was my point 3. Blizzard has to differentiate themselves from private servers to attract new audiences. And I hope they don't do that with weird changes. But I think that what they're going to do is they're going to maybe provide... I don't think they're going to do a 1.1 natural. I don't think they're going to do a 1.12. I think they're going to do something in between. And that something in between is not going to be changes. I think they're just going to start to meld some of the patches together.
Do you think it's going to be like a Frank, like how Tips was saying?
I think that's what they're going to do to differentiate themselves. I could be totally wrong. I'm not saying I want that. Please. I'm saying that's what I think they're going to do.
Now, that is a good point because there were things... Excuse me. I had some pork. I'm a little gassy. Rice and beans, too.
Yeah.
The thing is, too, that I like to look at is, of course, there's no way Blizzard's going to release 1.1 with all the bugs that they had.
No.
They're going to go back. There's no way, guys, and it would be awesome. I would friggin' love to be able to be a paladin with, unlimited reckoning stacks. I would love to be able, be able to kite... what's his name, Kazakh into Stormwind, and that would be awesome. But those were more of oversights than I think they were of actual.
And Blizzard's a company, and they have something. They have to attain a certain perfection.
But just because they release a 1.1 that doesn't have the bugs and doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a Franken patch. But what you're saying is more they might. So you looked at things like itemization. Like there were items that in the beginning of WoW gave, instead of giving bonus healing, they gave minus 22 mana per spell cost or something like that.
Yeah.
So you think they're going to do is keep the progression of this coming out at the time that it did, but it having the bonus healing from the start and it not having maybe something like that.
Perhaps, yeah. Yes, I think those are possibilities. I'm not saying that's what they're. I don't see that. The thing is, there's a lot of gray area.
And there's also the area when you talk about things like there was almost no bonus damage, gearing.
Yeah.
Are they going to keep that? And that, in a good way, I think, it might deter some people from playing casters, but it also is going to make Molten Core a lot more challenging.
I agree. Also, the other part that they're going to differentiate themselves is with proper scripting, actual numbers, hit points, damage numbers. So that's going to be a huge draw as well because it'll be a proper, perfect scripting. Very little lag.
Less lag for people who play. Yeah,
right. So
we play and we have high latency.
Yeah, that's another way to differentiate themselves as well, and that'll be a big selling point for people to come over. Right.
Yeah. My one of my biggest worries is, we obviously, like we were talking about, and I want to talk a little bit more about this, the two, kind of player bases that we have nowadays, and how, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, which I love. I love this fact that there are so many people out there who never played vanilla. They might have started playing in Wrath or BC, and they want to play vanilla as it was because they want to experience it as it was, and I love that. And I applaud you for that because I think you see the bigger picture. But I also understand that there are people out there who may have never played it and want to play something a little bit more up to date, or maybe you did play it and didn't have the same experience that me and Melderon did.
Yeah.
Maybe you thought it wasn't all that it was chalked up to be, and maybe you would like to see it more modern. Now, what I like to think in a perfect world, we could all kind of see eye to eye and realize that there are so many people who love it for what it was and want to play it for what it was, and that should be respected. In a perfect world, maybe we could realize that, okay, maybe vanilla classic is not for me. Maybe down the line, if Blizzard decides to release the Burning Crusade or Wrath, maybe that'll be more suited towards my needs.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I think, we're all being selfish here, which is okay. Because I'm being selfish because I want to see classic the way I want to see it, and the other people are being selfish because they want to see it the way they want to see it. But, and the question is, does one person have more weight over the other because they played Classic or it's their favorite game? And the answer is, yes and no, because no, because of course we all have the right to play it as we want it. We all have the right that, and I understand the argument that well, I was there. I played vanilla. I was the one who has been trying to get Blizzard. I signed the petition. I did this. Why my voice should be heard more than everyone else's. I understand both arguments in a way, but the good thing about this is there is not just one version of the game to be played. There are two versions out that will be out when Classic comes out, and eventually, if they do decide to, which I think kind of makes the most sense, of course they would down the line do the Burning Crusade, do Wrath. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you might have to wait longer to play what you want or what is more suited towards you, but at least it will be there, and at least that'll be there for you. So I'm a little bit of an idealistic person. I think Phil's a little bit more realistic than me. And I tend to see things, or try to see things from both perspectives.
The only people that I have a problem with are people who's never actually tried. So I understand that people didn't start in vanilla. That's not your fault. Mm-hmm. But I would give private servers a shot before you down. I know private servers aren't exactly the same thing, but they're 80% there.
They're a good cover band.
They're a very good cover band. Just give it a shot first, and then be like, oh, I hate this. Or no, change it. Give it a shot. See what you think.
And realistically,
get a character to at least 30 or something.
If you hate vanilla for its core principles, for the fact that it takes long, that classes aren't as balanced as they are in retail, if you hate vanilla for the fact that it is, takes a long time to get to 60, those kind of things. If you hate vanilla for those reasons, then most likely it's not the game for you.
That's correct. Yeah, sorry. It's not. That's the core principle of the game.
The fact that there are not as many balanced classes, I can understand the, I want to play Druid, I want to play this. Well, the fact is, that is so fundamentally what vanilla was. Not every class was viable, but the classes that weren't viable did have their roles. They had their niches. Shamans were not the best healers. They were great healers, AoE healers. Not the best DPS, but totems were amazing. A Ret Paladin could run into a raid, start DPSing, give all the blessings. The blessings were amazing in vanilla. Don't underestimate the power of blessings. They were friggin' awesome. And then if a couple healers go down, you can pop on a healing weapon and start healing. And the fact that they just didn't have as much DPS as other classes doesn't mean that they weren't viable.
Correct.
And I think
they're
that's
a very integral part of the raid.
Nowadays, people think just because such an emphasis today is on the numbers. Everything depends on numbers. If you have the highest DPS, then you're the best DPS class. If you have the highest healing, then you're best healing class. Yeah. That's not how it was in vanilla.
Yeah.
There were so many more things than just DPS and healing.
You got to remember that vanilla came from the tabletop games, guys. Tabletop. If you never played a tabletop game, if you're a cleric, you're not going to be DPS. You're not going to be killing dragons, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a cleric, you're a buff bot. You're a healer.
Yeah.
That's just what you are, and that's what you pick from the beginning of the RPG. And RPG campaigns can last. Tabletop games can last months. Yeah. And the same way vanilla is too.
You can't expect vanilla to be retail.
Yeah.
And I talked about in the first. If you guys didn't watch the first episode of DefTalk, I highly recommend. It's more about why I quit retail, why I quit Mythic raiding, the problems I had with it, and I really think that in order for Blizzard to save retail, they need to. The emphasis people put on numbers nowadays is kind of sickening. Item level. I friggin' hate item level, and I hate item level add-ons, and just because someone, let's get rid of the item level thing for a second, but let's look at parses and Mythic raid scores. That right there is one of the most pet peeve things I have. You walk into a raid, you see this hunter who stands in every mechanic, but then finally when you down the boss, because he's been tunneling the whole time, has the highest DPS, has the highest parse, but he is the number one reason why that raid, or why that guild wipes over and over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't mean you're a good player because you can figure out how to hit your buttons quicker than everyone else and not stand in crap and have everyone else pick up for your slack.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what is happening more and more. All everyone cares about is the numbers and less of the actual gameplay, less of the actual... as a healer, it's very frustrating, too, because I'm not saying healers are... this doesn't happen to healers. It happens to healers, too.
Yeah.
It's very frustrating to see. And it is going more and more away from the experience you have in the game, and now it's all become numbers. And who has the highest number, who has this and that. And... I think that's a big issue that retail has, and I know people, love looking at their numbers and seeing the highest and all this, but that doesn't mean that you're the best player. You might be lacking in team playing and all that kind of stuff, and it's just something that has bothered me especially in this expansion where you were so punished, especially in like. Tomb of Sargeras, you were so punished for one person doing something wrong, the whole raid would be punished.
Yeah.
But I think there is a little bit of hope with Classic and how big it's already being hyped, and maybe Blizzard, they have already implemented slower leveling, which a lot of people were angry at. But I think what they have to realize too is maybe just leave retail for the retail players and leave Classic for the Classic players. Let the retail players be happy here. Let the Classic players be happy here.
What else you got for me?
All right. So I think after this, we just wanted to talk about some personal things.
Okay.
Just double check. Okay, so how, we talked a little bit about in your vlogs how vanilla is more than just a game for you, and it's an experience for you. Enjoying the small moments, the things that would never happen in today's game, like creating a group just to help someone, who's getting ganked.
Yeah.
Or, you're getting your guild together because of those, those little experiences that were just purely Classic. Share some of those experiences with us, some of those things that you really love.
So recently, I was in Decilis on my shaman, who's I'm leveling resto, so it's a grind. And I was attacked by a hunter, and I'm resto, so I'm like, okay, here we go. So I frost shock the hunter, try to throw an earthbind down, try to get close to the hunter, and I'm starting to stab with my dagger.
Starting to get that dead zone.
Yeah, and I'm like trying to do my best. All of a sudden, a warrior charges. No, it was a druid. It was a druid comes out. I see a kitty cat come out of stealth, and helps me kill this hunter. And the guy's like, "Hey, you okay?" I'm like, "Dude, thank you so much. I was definitely gonna get my ass whooped." And he's like, "No problem. Did you attack first by any chance?" I'm like, "No, I didn't." He's like, "That's right. Taurens never attack first." And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. Taurens don't attack first." But it's like those things. So that first of all, that interaction was amazing.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. And then secondly, he's right. And it's I can't explain why he's right. But like for me, I don't know. When I play Tauren, I play like the why. I build into the role playing.
Yes.
I'm like, Taurens don't do things that are dishonorable.
Yep.
All these things where and it's so cool, right? And then there's like, of course, the dungeons, right? You walk in there. I healed a dungeon today. Didn't have to ask the mage. Mage comes over. Here you go, bro. Here's some water. Thanks, man. Throwing down Wind Fury Totem. So that I was in a very high. So it was 2 warriors, a rogue, and a mage. So threw down Wind Fury Totem and those rogues and warriors loved it. Things like that.
Love that Wind Fury, baby.
But it's just these social interactions that happen all the time. Like, hey, is there an engineer in this zone that can make this for me? Hey, is there a mage in here I get some water off of? Hey, is there anyone want to do this quest? That's the vanilla experience.
Brings up a really good point, too. Another question that I wanted to, as we get closer and closer in Classic, I think it's important for the people who have played vanilla, who have played private servers, to kind of be the, what's a good word for it? The ambassadors of Classic. Mm-hmm. And I think also that, and I would like to hear what you think about this, that we should try to emulate as much as we can those early days. I would go far as to saying, I would love to see people, I think like Alex Central was saying, making those old school WoW videos and putting them on YouTube, like those old school, just things that, were Another thing we were talking about, I want to see Tuesday server down day, maintenance day.
Yeah.
Because on Tuesdays, I went to freaking YouTube and I watched Machinima and WoW videos all freaking day, and I loved it.
That was part of the vanilla experience for me, definitely.
It was.
But so I'm making a vlog about, we were talking about this ambassador thing. So the next vlog I'm doing is about just that. And I'm not going to give too much of it away because I'm going to actually make a vlog about it. But basically is this. Be on your best behavior in the beginning. Even if you're a veteran, be on your best behavior. Because we want healthy server communities. Okay?
And not even just, I would say, or just try to
helpful. Just be helpful. You know? And I'll get into that on the vlog. So check that out.
To your faction. Kill
of course. If it's red, it's dead. But and I'll explain why in the vlog. But it's very important to be that ambassador for new people and returning people, because people are going to forget. You know, stuff I forgot.
Comes back
and karma is real and well. I'm telling you.
Oh my god!
It may not be. It may be like some kind of new age bullcrap in real life, but I'm telling you, it happens in WoW. If you're good to someone, the good comes back. Yep. It happens all the time.
It's so freaking true.
So if you see somebody getting ganked, give them a hand. If you see someone that needs a heal while you're running through, or a buff, give them that buff or a heal. Don't be the guy that just walks away a blind eye. And that's kind of what I'm going to get into with the vlog.
And you know, I've met some really amazing people when I played vanilla. You remember those guys, Syncor, those other guys that once I got. I did a lot of PvP, and even when I was in DC, I had those guys that I met some really cool people.
Yeah.
And sometimes those people help you see things in a different way. You might go into vanilla thinking, oh, this is crap, this is whatever, and then you meet a group of people and they help you see it in a whole new light, and the next thing you know, you love vanilla.
Yeah.
Like that happens.
And another aspect, sorry, GP30, if you're watching, I watched one of your vlogs, and so you don't have to, in vanilla, I think, the pressure is much less to be that high-end raider or high-end PvP. I'll give you an example why. So GP30 was in a guild. Their literal job, was to respond to local defense calls. Okay, if someone was like, someone's attacking red, he was Horde. If someone's attacking the crossroads, boom, they were there.
Yep.
Someone's attacking this, boom. That was their
sole. Just for that.
That was their sole
just
purpose.
Just for that. Yep.
And that's okay in vanilla.
It is.
And that's okay.
Or just a leveling guild where you just level. And that's another thing, guys. Check out Gaming Pass 30, GP30, and Dunedain. There's another guy. Dunedain has a few videos up right now that he has put up, and
Dunedain, Dunedain.
And this is what I was talking about earlier, how, you meet people. I was very on the fence when it came to the 1.12, 1.1 thing, because, I was used to playing private servers for so long. I came into vanilla late. I didn't came in until it was like 1.8, late 1.9, and I was, there was a little bit of change around that time, not much. But I was very used to seeing things the way they were in private servers. And Dunedain really helped me to see that, a 1.1 progression is really the way to go when it comes to raid progression, when it comes to making raids harder, when it comes to experiencing the true vanilla. Why would you want to experience private servers again just through Blizzard?
Yeah.
I want to have something different. Yeah. And, Dunedain's making some great videos. He has a few videos right now, things to do while you're waiting for Classic. And then he also talks about the importance of starting at 1.1. And that really goes to show, the importance of guys like this who love vanilla and are emulating that true vanilla feeling, and they're going to bring it to Classic. And that's very important because we need people like that. We need people like that to bring the soul of Classic with them.
Yes. So, Gaming Pass 30... It's literally the words Gaming Past 30 and Dunedain. Check those guys out. They're brand new. They're trying to get their channels some traffic. So.
And if you want to make content, do it.
Yeah.
Because now's the time.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some great classic WoW content creators out there, but there aren't enough. In my opinion, there are not enough.
Because it's going to get big, guys.
It is.
Trust me, it's gonna get big.
I recently just bought this camera. As this is my actual first face reveal that I've done.
Yeah, this is my mom's basement.
Yeah,
we're actually in our mom's basement.
Yeah, we are. I shaved my neck beard today, but no. Well, listen, guys. Melderon and I, we have our other lives. We have, and we try to make content as much as we can. This is what we love doing. It is, we both have our own lives, but when it comes and it's a unique way for us to stay in contact. My brother's going to be moving to Germany soon.
Yeah.
You know? I'm not going to be able to see him every day, but I can hop on to WoW and play with it. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
You know? And also, the friendships that you make on this game can surpass friendships in real life.
It's true.
I am 100% serious on that. I was going through a really rough time in some of my earlier... and I'll talk about this later, but I had a rough time growing up in my 20s, and so I'm 29 now. I'm not this guy's age, but you know, I had a lot of rough times, and there was people in WoW that really helped me through it, and even just WoW as itself really helped me through it.
Yeah.
To know that I could wake up and that world would be there for me to escape into, even though sometimes it's not good to escape. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to escape, and it was there for me.
That's right. And this is the whole thing of it's more than a game, right? This stuff we're talking about now. For me, it's definitely more than a game. For Matt, it's more than a game. And it's like, when I log on to Warcraft, I don't think to myself I'm playing a video game. I think I'm getting myself into a world where I also exist apart from this world. I love this world. I love what I have in this world. I love the connections I have in this world. I don't consider myself someone who is an escapist all the time, but sometimes I need to shut this off and turn the other side of it the Warcraft side of it on, and be that character. I need to do that sometimes.
This is one of the unique games that you're able to do that in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to just delve yourself into this world.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I mean, and that's another thing, we love the lore of WoW.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I'm really angry at the current game in BFA. I do not like where the lore is going, and I feel like they're diminishing the love that I have for it in a way. But at least we'll always have Classic. You know, even if it, you know, what happens to whatever.
I'll have it one way or another.
We'll have it one way or another, exactly.
But, yeah, that's...
And, you know, guys, I really just want to say that we are so just amazed at the amount of people who have followed us through this journey. You know, when it comes to our channel, we are getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, which for us is amazing. Yeah. You know, I know when Phil made this channel, I can, you know, say that I'm sure you were not seeing this happening.
No, absolutely not.
And, you know, and even when I decided to join him on the channel, I, you know, was just doing, it was something that we like to do. It's just a hobby for us. And the fact that we have the people that we do, you know, you guys, speaking to you guys, you know, from the guild, you guys who have subscribed to us, we love you guys. Mm-hmm. And, you know, if there's anything we can do for you guys, shout out to us on Discord, in the comments.
Twitter, whatever you need.
Another question I had for you is, there's a lot of different YouTubers out there.
Yeah.
Some of which have different opinions.
Yeah.
Some of those, you know, contradict other YouTubers' opinions, and some YouTubers have had drama with other YouTubers. Yep. How do you feel on that, and what is your stance? Where do you like to...
So in the academic field, this is where my experience comes from, okay? It is extremely healthy for you as an academic, and good for your future, to involve yourself with people of differing opinions. Because when you're working on academic things, and I consider this an academic venture in a way for YouTubers, you tend to tunnel yourself into what you're an expert in, okay? I work with a certain thing, okay? It's a genetic thing I work on, and I tunnel myself into that so deep and so far that I sometimes forget what like basic biology concepts sometimes, because I'm so involved in it. It's very, very important. I was just at a conference to learn from people who are outside of your comfort zone, outside of your field, integrate, take what you leave, and leave less rest behind. So that's very important, okay? It's also very important so you've steel sharpens steel, right? So you can only sharpen yourself with people who have differing opinions of yourself. You can't contain yourself in a bubble of people who have similar ideas and expect yourself to grow. You can't do it. You have to get out of your comfort zone, get people who are politically different from you, religiously different from you, learn about their things, their ideas, their concepts, what they hold dear, their opinions, and kind of morph yourself, taking what you like, leaving the rest behind, and grow. So that's the same thing with YouTube. I think it's very detrimental to our community and to the movement itself to have these cold wars between each other. Okay, I'm not saying you have to like everybody. I'm not saying you have to agree with everything someone says. All I'm saying is that collectively we'll get a lot more done if we are working on the same. I don't want to say the same team, but working together towards a common goal.
Yeah.
Same page. That's another one too. And I know that we all have our own personas and egos, but this is bigger than our personas and our egos. And I want to remind everybody that. And it's just the way science is bigger than one scientist's ego or persona or specialty. You can't become a very good scientist unless you take from other fields of science, other people who have different hypotheses from you, and learn from that. It's been big for me, and I think it goes into YouTube as well, because we are experts, right? To an extent. Some people may disagree with everything we say, but we do this as a hobby. We study Warcraft as a hobby. We study it, and in that way, we are becoming more of an expert every day. So, in order to become an expert, though, you have to listen to other experts, and you have to meld those things together.
I absolutely agree with that, and I think a lot of the times, people are too quick to point out what they don't agree with and what they want, what they don't like. Sometimes you just need to stop and listen, and then just, like you said, make your own idea out of it. You don't always have to just. Even if you like what someone says, you don't have to accept all of it as truth and think that every word that's coming out of this person's mouth is gold. Make your own choice and your own judgment based on what you've heard. Mm-hmm. I think that's very important. I think it's a good point.
Yeah, and I just think that bad blood is not going to. It's going to hurt us in the long run. The retail community is waiting for us to fall apart, guys.
Yeah, tear ourselves apart.
They want that. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's not give them that, because we have this. Unfortunately, we have this. That's what I'm looking for. We have this like.
Well, it's a passion.
No. We have this. We already have this. Oh God. Unfortunately, a lot of people think we're toxic. Okay, a lot of people think the community is toxic. We have this. You know what I'm trying to say?
This air about us?
Yeah, this air about us that people think, the vanilla community are a bunch of kids, they're a bunch of whiners, they yell and scream, and unfortunately, that's there. And I think there's a lot of us that don't have that, and we're trying to push this in a professional way. And the retail community, not just the retail community, because not all of them feel that way, but the haters, they want us to fail. They want Vanilla WoW to have changes, because just in spite, and I see comments like this all the time.
Yeah.
We have to rise above that, guys. We have to do better.
And I think one of the main problems is, well, not a problem, but the thing is, we're so passionate about Classic.
Yeah.
And our feelings have been dragged through the dirt for so long now. And now that we actually got the announcement that we'd all been waiting for, we also got, with that came changes and all this other shit. And we kind of were like, yes, oh my God, wait, what the fuck are you talking about,
Yeah.
And it's kind of been this whole ride, so it's, when you take someone who's so passionate about something and then try to twist what they love, of course they're going to get angry.
Yeah.
But I've heard some, YouTubers say that, the majority of the Classic community is toxic. And I think that is the furthest from the truth.
Yeah, I do too.
I really do. Are there toxic people out there? I hate the word toxic.
Yeah, are there bad cops? Of course there's bad cops.
Sure.
Right? It's like that kind of thing.
I think the main thing is that we're passionate people.
Yeah.
But how do you feel? How do you feel about some? I think a lot of the times people look at the negative things and build that idea upon us about those negative things, and I think a lot of the times, a lot of the good is not looked at. A lot of the positive things, like you were talking about, people helping each other in groups and that kind of thing, and we're often looking towards the negative and the
it's like the news.
Absolutely.
The news only shows bad stuff, right? It doesn't show. I don't want to get into a political thing about cops, but what I'm saying is there are bad apples, there are bad cops, but what do you see on the news? It's always the bad cops, right? It's never the guy helping the kid, or never this helping the guy. That never happens. And the same thing, we don't get the publicity of the good interactions, awesome interactions that happen on private servers right now. and they do happen. So that's a big problem. That's a big problem, and I think that people always focus on the negative. Always focus on the negative, and that's not the way to live. If you live your life that way, man, like you have a lot of like negativity in you. You know, like it's not good.
What do you think is the best way for us to try to turn that around now?
I think a lot of people are doing it already. I think that a lot of YouTubers are starting to realize this, and I think they're starting to really change the perspective. And I think, but the best way to do it now is to just kind of, I think, just give credit where credit is due, and just say like, hey, that
person for who they are doesn't mean you can't look at their content and say this is good content.
I know when I post a comment on a YouTuber's thing and people see that, it gets thumbed up a lot because like they know that we're agreeing with them or we're giving comments back, and I think that's a huge thing you can do is go on someone else's channel and say, hey dude, nice vid. You know, something like that. I agree with your point on this. And I think that's a good way to get... First of all, it's a good way to build your following. Secondly, it's a good way to get everyone to think together and talk together and be healthy with it, right? Negative comments are not going to get us anywhere. Anywhere.
I think it's an important point, too, because like, you can like a video that someone made, but not like the content creator. Or not like other videos that they've made.
Or not like their core values, or not like their... Yes, I think that's definitely true. You can do that.
And I think a lot of times we take with...
We don't do that. I'm just saying that, like, you can do that.
Yeah, we very much try... I know for me, you know, I can speak for myself, that I try to treat every content creator with the same respect that I would want to treat I would want to be treated with.
Yeah, I mean that's
you know, and no matter if there's someone out there who doesn't like that I like this one person, or they don't like that I like this one person, you know, it doesn't really matter to me because I try to look at everybody the same. Yeah. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt that they are passionate about WoW,
taking their time to make videos,
videos, and the majority of those videos are amazing, and they put time into it, they put effort into it, and that's, I think, the way it should be looked at. You know?
That's correct. Yeah.
It's just sad to see that so many people can't leave their shit at the door. They can't leave their feelings of how they feel about this and that. They have to bring it with everything they do. And
if you guys are younger out there and you're like these old, who want to listen to these old dudes or whatever, but like it's good practice for the future because one day you're going to be an adult. One day you're going to be in the workforce. You got to learn how to be respectful to people. I'm not saying, like, you gotta be respectful, young man. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying...
your elders.
Yeah. Just try to be the person that you... Try to put good out into the world, good will come back to you. It's like, it's kind of like the Warcraft karma thing that I said was bullshit, but karma, it does have, you know, I noticed that if I'm good to people, good comes back, and I just think that that's a good way to do things. And the more healthy we are as a community, the more healthy the servers will be.
Absolutely.
So...
and that's true because, you know, so much of how we act and who we are reflects so much on everything else. And
even your interactions in game.
Yeah.
If pop caps are low, you better be on your best behavior.
Yep.
Just saying, that's how it was back then.
Look at your name, and they're gonna be like,
is
that the same guy?
Is that the guy who ninja looted?
Yeah.
Let's not invite him to the group.
Did he need on a friggin' cloth piece and he's a rogue?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, I think that's a good, yeah.
Do you want to talk about a little about what you're doing in real life and
sure, just briefly. So, I mean, like it's not, it's just something that I think we should do with all our interviewees is that we aren't just these people. We have other lives too. So I'm finishing up my PhD in technically in entomology, but more in genetics. At the end of this year in December, I basically use fruit flies as a genetic model to answer a bunch of questions about stress and aging, and we use them because we can't use humans as genetic models because that's highly illegal. But the things we do to these flies are pretty bad if they were humans. We put them in boiling water. We put them in freezing temperatures. Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Nobody cares about flies. We don't have to have any paperwork working on invertebrates because they don't have a vertebrae. That's true.
They don't have a soul.
Yes, that's right. In order to have a soul, you have to have a vertebrae.
Yeah.
So they don't have vertebrae.
So we all.
So yes, and no one cares about them, and we have no paperwork to fill out. They're cheap to rear. They have a 10-day life cycle. Very, very easy. So that's why I use them to answer questions. And basically, I look at aging and stress. And I try to correlate that to humans. But that's what we do. I also write. I'm in the process of writing a novel. It's taking me very long because I can't do a PhD and write a novel at the same time. I can't do it. It's impossible. I'm lucky that I actually can make videos and do a PhD. I have a girlfriend in Germany that I'm moving to live with at the end of this year. And that's basically me. I grew up in Philadelphia, and I live in Kansas now. Anyone lives in the Midwest, I'm sorry. But anyway, I love Kansas has some really
It
cool
does
things.
have, the prairie is very beautiful.
It is.
And I guess I can talk a little bit about myself as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
So some of you guys might not know this about me. Probably there's only a few of you who do. I was a opiate addict for a very long time in my life, and I have 4 years clean now. 4 years clean. Yep. And that was a very weak clap.
Well, I have a cigar in my hand, and I don't want to clap too loud on the thing.
But what I'm doing now, let's talk about what I'm doing now with that. So recently I have become a lot more involved in working with people who are also trying to get their own recovery together. I've been doing a lot of volunteer work, going down to Kensington, which is a pretty nasty part of Philly, doing work with people down there, talking to kids and youth, that kind of thing, that are having issues with it.
And you're getting certified.
Oh, well, that's what I'm getting to.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry to steal your thunder there.
But now, I decided to go back to school. And I'm going to school currently now to be a certified recovery specialist, which is friggin' awesome because it's what I really want to do. And I never thought, guys, that I would get to this point in my life. I had been through you can ask Phil, some pretty rough patches.
Yeah, definitely.
That you guys probably, we'll talk about that another time, but there have been times that,
all the gray hair I have is because of him.
Old Defcamp almost didn't get a...
See this?
Yeah.
That's because of my brother.
Luckily, Phil gave me a res a few times.
I did.
A couple times
I get hit him with Ancestral Spirit a few times.
Yeah. But
I made sure it was a high rate.
we can laugh about this now because I've become such a different person than I was.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been through a pretty unique journey that I don't regret anymore. I feel like I went through this journey for a reason, and it made me the person who I am today. I will always be an addict. I was a heroin addict for almost 10 years. Well, not
a heroin addict.
An opiate addict for very late. I was 17, and a lot of the times I would get clean, and Warcraft was there for me. Of course, my family was there for me, but I was very depressed. I was going through some really rough times, and Warcraft was there for me, and it kind of became an addiction in its own, but at least it was healthier than injecting heroin into my veins.
Yeah, we could definitely agree on that. Yeah.
But the thing is now, guys, I really like to say, no matter what your dreams are, no matter what the hell you want to do, I never thought I would get back in school. And I looked at everyone else around me, and I said, I will never become that. There were so many things I wanted to do with my life, but I figured that I fucked it up so bad. Excuse me, I don't care. We're not demonizing. I fucked it up so bad that I will never get there, and that it just seems so out of reach. And now today, I can say that I'm going to school, at Penn State Abington. I'm doing things that I never thought I would have done with my life. And
it's never too late.
It's never too late, guys. And if you want to do some WoW videos, you want to put shit up, there's going to be haters out there no matter what. There's going to be people out there who's going to say that your shit sucks.
Yeah.
But guess what? If one person likes your video, and if you like what you're doing, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about anybody else? If you like what you're doing, do it and continue doing it.
Empty cans rattle the most. So,
guys, people sometimes are jealous of your ability to do what it is that you do, and misery loves company, and they're going to try to drag you down with you.
Yep.
But the best thing you can do is just keep on trucking and keep on doing it and talk about it. Yeah,
you should keep binding and grinding too.
Keep binding and grinding, baby. Hell yeah. So I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah.
We really love doing this, and I really think that this whole thing, the DefTalk series is definitely going to be something that we hope is going to take off. We're going to try to have, and that's the other thing too, we don't want to just have content creators. I would like to have some of you guys who would like to share your thoughts with us on here.
If you are a viewer you don't make content, you're comfortable enough being on camera, or perhaps even with audio, it doesn't matter. Let us know, and we'll do a DefTalk with you eventually.
We have some people who are interested now. And, we're going to honor those people first. But I really think, we hear what content creators want to say all the time. Correct. And I want to get the pulse of you guys. And I want to figure out what you guys want. Because a lot of content creators, a lot of the stuff we agree on, a lot of the things maybe we haven't talked about that need to be talked about, and a lot of you guys bring up some good points, so we'd like to bring you guys up. So, join us on Discord, send us a message on Twitter, probably the best way, or an email.
Yep, so our email is in there. It's melderon.gaming@gmail.com. We have a Twitter. It's at DefMeldTV. It's in the description. Yeah, we have a Discord. And please leave a like and a comment and a subscribe if you like what we're doing. We're trying to get to 1,000 subs. That's our milestone. And then we're going to go up from there. We're not going to stop, but
we're going to keep on grinding and keep buying.
Yeah, that's right. We really like to get there. It would be definitely a milestone for us. And thanks for all the love we've gotten so far. It really means a lot.
Keep tuned for Super Play Brothers within a few days, hopefully.
Yep.
And, guys...
You have a video coming out, too.
Yeah, I do. We're working on it.
Yeah.
Guys, we are going to push our way to 1,000 subs and keep pushing. So
with your help. Yeah.
With your help. So until next time, guys, this is Defcamp.
And Melderon.
Signing off.
Peace.
Keep binding and grinding, baby. Oh, yeah.
Bye.